Are we live? Wonderful. We are live. Excellent. All right. So let's see if anyone actually shows up today because I just realized, like, literally 2 minutes ago that I forgot to set up the live stream for this week. So we'll see if people get on. Either way, it's set up now. And let's just get to work, shall we? Since there's no one on just yet, I have been feeling. Let's just have some fun with some rhythmic strings, shall we? I've been wanting to do something with like kind of rhythmic strings. Kind of like an epic string arrangement. But first, I feel like I seem to remember there was something fun. Hey, Sunanva, welcome, my friend, welcome. I'm just gonna listen through some of these ideas from last week because I seem to remember there was one that I really liked. Nothing that's really strikes my fancy yet. I won't get rid of it just because you never know. I might decide to do something with it. But let's just do something fun real quick. Let's just do a quick, crazy, powerful, like rhythmic strings idea. Because I don't really have a plan for today. It's just another kind of hangout. Let's do strings short. 23, what's up, my friend? Welcome, welcome. All right, here, we got some people coming in. Don't forget to like the stream, my friends. And as of now, like I said, there's zero plan for the live stream today. Right now, what I am doing is I'm going to just come up with a cool little rhythmic string ideas, what I think I'm going to do. And if people have questions, ideas, comments, let me know. We're just going to chat. Ooh, I will say one thing. You guys want to see something cool? Let me see here. Look how close we are to 30,000. This is insane. So very close to 30,000. And we will be celebrating because I got to celebrate. There's going to be like some kind of special stream, some kind of celebration on the channel. Obviously, for those of you who are old school, I am going to do the tortilla video. I promised I would do it. I'll do a tortilla video of some sort where I'll teach you my family recipe. But we got to do something else, right? We got to do something special to celebrate. What? What? This is supposed to be a string library. What's going on here? Brass, low, short. Oh, I grabbed the wrong one. Gotta do something to celebrate 30,000. And if we hit 30,000, because next week is already the what is it? The 6-year anniversary. It's gonna be the 6-year anniversary of the YouTube channel, which is insane. Right? Yeah, just only 35 people away, right? Euthymania, welcome, welcome. Yes, 23. So weren't you talking about making rapid fire, making 8-bar melodies or something also for 30,000? So yeah, there's going to be some kind of cool thing. That was one of the ideas I was playing around with, was 1 hour creating 30 different 8-bar melodies in 1 hour, because I'm quite skilled, I would say, at creating interesting melodic ideas very quickly. Let's do something real quick. No, see, so here we have our idea. No, it's that oops, that was a reflex. Let's double down on the 5. So this will be our chord progression. Welcome, my friends, welcome. Sneak the Lickin' as one of the melodies. That would be a hoot. Ooh, that'd be fun. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what the lick is, and at this point, I'm a little scared to ask. I feel like I'm supposed to know what it is, but I don't. Let's do quick bass line. Let's do so this is our chord progression. So all I'm doing right now for those of you who are just joining, is I don't really have any plans, so I'm just gonna have some fun writing a cool kind of epic, creating a kind of a cool epic like a string rhythmic idea. Do 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 do. And we'll do all of these. We'll drop the velocity a little bit. We'll say this is the rhythm. I'm just picking a random rhythm. So I'm highlighting these. I'm going to increase these velocities. Now I'm going to increase the velocity of 1 and 3 just a little bit more. And I don't have my Logic editor in Cubase set up, so I can't randomize these the way I would like to. And I have just a little bit of a lag on my keyboard that I'm still trying to figure out. So I can't, I don't want to play it in. Not fast rhythmic parts like this. So that's why I'm stuck using kind of the pencil tool here. So we'll take this, and we'll just put this in octaves, shall we? All right, so now let's do kind of a mid-string kind of goes. It's just a little motif that's become an inside joke. It goes D, E, F, G, E, C, D. What was that? So D. What's the kind of the rhythmic idea? Man, I know it's an inside joke. I know of the lick. I've heard it referenced. I don't know how to use it though. We'll see if we can find a way to use it. Let's do next. Let's figure out a middle idea. Typically for these, I like to focus on some common tones. So I like this idea right here. Let's do this for our middle lines. And we'll build something with it. Well, we'll get rid of the E here. So close. Let's do... Let's actually see here. Let's do the off beats. What do we actually see here? So this will be our idea. And then we'll do D. You know what? Let's just take this and copy and paste it. And we'll adjust it this way. It's easier. We'll do D. We'll do F. Let's do a full-on arpeggio, actually. Step a little bit. And then we're back to an A minor again, so we'll come back down here. And then we'll do E minor. Let's do We'll do actually a full jump there. Just kind of like the way that sounds better. And now we can kind of repeat this main idea because it's mostly the same chords. And let's increase the velocity of all of these a little bit more because it feels a little soft at the moment. I like that. That works really well. Let's see here. Let's put this down here though, because that's an F major. And then let's adjust this. Let's see, any questions so far? Let's see here. 23, I'll send you the link after the stream of a bunch of people using it throughout their years so you can check it out. Thank you, yes, that'd be really fun to kind of work with it. See if we can come up with something on a live stream with it. And then let's see here. So it's a short minute and a half compilation of the link being used throughout the century. It will post in regular chat when it's available. Perfect. Thank you. Euthymania, all notes are eighth notes except the second E, which is a quarter note, and the final D, which is held into the next bar. All right, let's figure this out. All right, let's see if I can write out the lick, which I can't believe I'm ignorant of, using the description from the chat. All right, it goes D, E, F, G, G, E, C, D. All right, then Euthymania says all notes are eighth notes except for the second E, which is a quarter note. So let's stretch this out a bit. And the final D, which is held into the next bar. Let's see this. So is that it? All right, all right. See, yeah, you guys can hear the lag of my keyboard. I'm playing it, but it's not coming quickly. Oops. Ah, I'm a terrible player. Is that the lick? Is that the infamous lick? All right, we'll see what we can do with this in a bit. First, let's get back to these kind of this interesting string idea we're coming up with. So we'll say, we'll do this. And let's put this one on E. Oops, something happened over here. All right, so now we'll mute this and raise it up here so we can know we can come up with something with it. I actually kind of like this down here better. Having just be constant A's. So let's do it one more time. All right, good. All right, I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Excellent. All right, so then let's take this idea and we'll repeat it. And then we'll add something new up here. I feel like, well, let's do 16th notes. Add a little more urgency, shall we? Or what if we did, well, let's see here. What if we did the common line, keeping just these as much as possible? Let's see here. Let's try that. Just see how it feels. I'm feeling like something much faster now. Just delete that since we got the chord progression over there. what we'll do here is we'll lift this up. Unmute that. Raise this a little bit. Hey, Tamashi, welcome, my friend. Let's see this out. Let's try that. I don't like, okay, so I like this idea. Here's what we'll do. I like the idea, let's create a little more movement, actually. I like the 16th notes, but I don't like it being constant. So we're going to just create a very simple, what we'll do, a very simple heterophonic texture. Well, it technically isn't a heterophonic texture. We're going to do some runs. Heterophonic texture would insinuate that we have a melody going on. All right, so our third chord is another A minor. What we are going to do, first, let's do this. And then this is an E minor. So what I'm going to do is right now I'm just very quickly creating arpeggios. And then we can take these arpeggios. Let's swap to voice so it's easier to tell what each layer is. Say this is soprano 2 because I like the subtlety of the colors of the second voices instead of the primary ones, which are very in your face. We'll say this is alto 2, and this is bass 2. And then we will repeat our soprano, make some slight changes to make sure that it stays with the underlying chord progression. Because then this one was F major. This was E major. I teleported bread. Do chord inversions alter which functional group a chord belongs to? That is a fantastic question, and the answer is no, they do not. So chord inversions, if you would like a good breakdown, versions tabletop composer, just look up chord inversions tabletop composer. This is actually something that harmonic bass lines and chord inversions. This one right here. This is something I talked about. And this is also the topic of one of my most recent live streams, which was the private live stream for chord inversions and bass lines. This one right here, which is for channel members. This was a lot of fun. This is one of my favorite live streams I've done in a bit. I get to get on a little pedestal, but yeah, no, the long story short, using different chord inversions does not change the function of your chord. All right, it doesn't change whether it's a tonic functioning, subdominant functioning, or what have you. Let's see here. Let's make this one a little more melodic. See how this feels. Chord inversions are actually largely misunderstood, and I'll explain that in a moment. Kind of like that. Then jump down. I kind of like that. Let's see here. Unless, should I just stick Should I just stick to arpeggios? Let's try it real quick. Let's see what it would sound like if it was arpeggios only. I like that one better. All right, we're gonna do arpeggios instead. And then this was a D minor. Let's see here. We're getting some more questions here. Let's see here. World Music Theory would be awesome if you did a live stream where you just relax and check out some music your viewers recommend. Oh, that'd be fun. The tricky part with that. So I do enjoy doing, like, the closest thing to that is the live feedback streams, which next week we have one next week. The tricky part with just listening to music people recommend is copyright issues with YouTube. YouTube can be quite severe with copyright punishments for live streams in particular. Since they can't screen it ahead of time, I can get penalties on the channel if they review a live stream afterwards, which they always do, and find out that I broke some copyright rules because of it. And YouTube is really stupid with their copyright rules. They don't give a crap about fair use. So that makes things a little tricky. I'd have to look into it a bit more, but that would be a lot of fun. Something we used to do, I think we just did it like 3 times, was a patron movie night. We used to do that. That was a lot of fun. But it was just hard finding time that worked for people. Is that something people would be interested in? I would love to do take another crack at it. Because you can't really see it off camera, but I've got a massive bookshelf right next to me, and I have a lot of movies. So what we used to do is we would get on Discord, and I would pop in a movie, and we just kind of watch it together. We just kind of chat about it. People could point out things that they thought were cool about the soundtrack. We would, I'd put it up on screen. Everybody would watch the movie together, and then it was just like a group chat going on, where people could talk about their favorite parts of the movie. They could talk about their favorite moments in the music, different things they noticed happening in the score. If people had questions about what was happening in the score, they could ask, and I would do my best to answer. It was a lot of fun. It was just the first one I hosted, I think, was like Pirates of the Caribbean 3. It was a lot of fun. But we had a couple people who showed up for that one. And the second one, I think, was like a Sherlock Holmes movie. It was another Hans Zimmer movie. Had less people show up for that one. And I think the third one was Interstellar, and no one showed up for it. So after that, I was like, all right, this is kind of tricky to coordinate. We stopped doing it. It was a patron-only thing. So like you had to pay at least like a $1 patron per month to be part of it. But it was a lot of fun. So is that something people would be interested in? I would be up for retrying it, but I'd want to try and do at least, because it does require me to, I mean, I love watching movies, but it does require me to actually sit down, like schedule a movie into my day. Since it's not just me watching a movie with friends, which it technically it's like with a Patreon. I love hanging out with you guys, but it was a little different from like a friendly movie night. It would be a whole kind of everybody, like it'd be something I have to coordinate. It's something I have to put in effort more than just kind of showing up. So if people are interested in that, I would love to try and redo that because it was a lot of fun. Let's see here. Euthymania, what about something like the cadential 6/4? Generally, music theories go as far as to not even call it a 1 chord, despite being enharmonically equivalent to it. So the question right there is specifically a 6/4. So using a cadential 6/4, like a German augmented sixth, or a French augmented sixth, or an Italian augmented sixth, those are very specific cadences. So at that point, it's not just using an inversion. You're using a very specific musical technique. All right, you're using a very specific musical, what's the word I'm looking for? Not gesture, but it's a tool. You're using something very specific, like a Neapolitan sixth. That's a very specific tool. You're using that for a very specific purpose. All right, you are using a first inversion, I believe it's first inversion, flat 2 chord. All right, that has a name. Now, if you're just talking about like a C major in second inversion or first inversion, that doesn't change the fact that C major is still a tonic chord. So it depends on what you're using. Yes, there are exceptions to every rule in music theory. And if you are using kind of like a German augmented sixth, pre-cadential material is what it's called, like a predominant, that can do weird stuff. It can change the function a little bit, but it's still, the general rule is just putting a chord in a different inversion isn't going to change the function. So 23, that sounds cool. World music. Oh, so you're talking about the idea earlier? Oh, yeah, the copyright issues are an issue. Yeah, talking about inversion of the chord function. Euthymania, a second inversion chord can be really powerful at the end of a phrase as the phrase feels incomplete as it is a one chord, but it allows the music to evolve into the following phrases. Yes. So yeah, there are ways you can use it. Yeah, so awesome. You guys are helping each other out. So they are very cool tools, but at the end of the day, the function of the chord itself does not change. The personality of the sound can change, but the function will not. Anonymous, have you played Red Dead Redemption 2? What was your favorite song? I have not. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't play a lot of video games anymore. I used to play them all the time, but I just don't have a lot of time, unfortunately, for it anymore. So now when I play video games, it's usually, I'm in level with you, when I play video games, it's usually like Xbox One, or like Nintendo Switch, because I spend so much time in front of my computer. It's just not as relaxing for me. It's not relaxing for me to sit in front of my computer anymore. So I like to go out into the living room, sit on the couch, and pull up just a simple like console game. I play like Xbox One, so a bit outdated, a little old. I'll typically just play something a little stupid. Like, I love Mario Kart. I am a fiend at Mario Kart. Like most, I don't know if, I was about to say like most millennials, but I don't know if I'm a millennial anymore. I was born in 1995. And like by all measures, it's like split. Half the people say that I'm like the very last of the millennials, and then half the people say I'm the very first of the Gen Z. I will say for a long time I related more with millennials, but for whatever reason, I don't know if it's because I'm a man child and I refuse to grow up, but I'm relating a lot more with Gen Z these days. I'm like the elder Gen Z or whatever. Either the elder Gen Z or the baby millennial. I don't know what I am. What's a favorite major and minor key? Ooh, I don't really have a favorite major or minor key. I default a lot to C major and C minor or A minor. But I don't really have a favorite key. It just depends on where I'm, what I'm doing with the, like what instruments I want to work with. Because the instruments I'm working with are going to determine the key. Because if I want the French horn to play as my melody voice, I need to make sure that the key situates the melody in a range that's good for that. But yeah, other than that, I do like the sound of Dorian a lot. I love that sound. Yeah, the lag on my keyboard is driving me crazy. But yeah, I like the... I've talked about that a lot on my channel. All right, let's listen to this real quick. I think I'm caught up. Oh, got a couple of things. The generation thing is just BS. People relate to what they feel comfortable with. I too relate with ancient people sometimes. Yeah, you know what? Since I've got a foot in each one, I'm just going to claim it. I'm a millennial when it's convenient, and I'm a Gen Z when it's convenient. I teleported Red. In one of your previous live streams, you mentioned clave rhythms. How exactly does one write a melody in a clave that is still rhythmically interesting and not just an exact repeat of the clave rhythm? Good point. So the clave rhythm, for those of you who haven't known, all right, let's pull this up. The clave rhythm. All right, so here we have the clave rhythm. It's a very famous rhythm from a lot of different, as you can see, Latin American styles of music. So let's put this up into our rhythmic strings, shall we? So we have 4/4 time. And what we're going to have is the first quarter note. Then we will have the second, the and of beat 2. We'll leave off beat 3. So this is our clave rhythm. And if we repeat this, it's a little slow. So then if we take this, we drop this an octave, we have our clave. Now you're asking about writing a melody using this very famous rhythm without it being boring and just being a repeat of the same melody. So the really cool thing about this is you don't need to use only these notes. You can add lots of notes. In fact, that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to very quickly throw in a bunch of more random notes. Say this, that, that. And all I really need to do is that make sure the notes from the clave rhythm themselves are the ones that are most accented, the most given the most attention. Let's mute this one down here. It's a little confusing. All right, so it's not the cleanest. Let's see if we can come up with something. So what I'm going to do is I'll make sure that each of my clave notes are going to be chordal tones or target tones. So I've got the C, implied C major chord, implied D minor chord. We'll do an implied A minor chord. And then we'll do a G. And then we can use these other notes to kind of flesh out the melody a little bit. And as long as the notes that are part of the clave rhythm are the ones that are most rhythmically emphasized, it should give us a pretty decent idea. Right? So we've got a nice little melody going on already. And we can stretch that out a little bit. We can adjust all of these notes that aren't part of the clave rhythm and just come up with something interesting. And the cool thing about this is as long as you remember that you're trying to hint at the clave rhythm by emphasizing those same notes. It's going to work, especially if we use the clave rhythm and reinforce it in the bass line. So this was a C major, D minor, A minor, G major. So if we fill these in a little bit. Right? So there's a lot of creativity. The thing that you want to make sure that you're keeping in mind is that you're not limiting yourself to just the clave rhythm. That you can do all kinds of things. In fact, this is the basis for creativity in a lot of music. We'll say, let's chop this up, and it's a method that I recommend a lot, is something I call the 9 parameters. All right? The 9 parameters, I did not invent these 9 parameters, but I'm probably the composer online who has done the most to kind of push this approach, which is tempo, timbre, texture. And when I say I didn't invent the 9 parameters, I say that I did not create these individual things. But to my knowledge, I don't think I've ever met another composer who created a list like this. I believe I found the original list type from the book Musical Composition, Art and Craft by Alan Belkin, which is one of my favorite books. But it was a throwaway line. It's not something, and it's something that for whatever reason I latched onto. But these 9 parameters tend to be the center of everything I do in composing. So let's see here. Tempo, timbre, texture, rhythm, dynamics, articulation, rhythm, and register. Is this all 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. I have something spelled wrong. Where is it? Pitch, articulation. There we go. So if you have a rhythmic idea, and you have this, all you need to do is make sure that you maintain that idea. if you maintain that idea, you have 8 other things you can play with to make it more interesting, including this ninth. You can say, all right, I've got my main rhythms, but as long as I play around with it, I'm good. In fact, if I really wanted to, I could just fill in all of this real quick. And again, using a little bit of velocity to differentiate the notes that are being emphasized. Right? That's a fun little idea, actually. I kind of like that. Awesome. So hopefully that answers your questions. Let's see here. Where was that? I teleported bread. So yeah, I teleported bread. I hope that helped. Don't forget to like the stream, people. It does wonders for the algorithm. It helps the channel a lot. It's something very simple you can do to help the channel grow, because we are so close to 30,000. Getting very close. If we get to 30,000 before the 6-year anniversary, that's gonna be. I'll do something extra. I'll do something extra fun, I think. Which shouldn't be hard, because the 6-year anniversary is Wednesday. We got a couple days. Let's see here. 23, my favorite minor key is usually D. Dorian gives me medieval nostalgia. Yes, I like Dorian. Dorian's my favorite minor mode as well. Dissonance, 1996 here, feeling exactly the same. Yes, see, but that's the thing. I think 1996, I think according to like the generational things, I think they solidly name you as a Gen Z, even though millennials were probably what you kind of grew up a little bit more with. See, 95, the thing that makes it so confusing. Watch this, watch this. What is the cutoff year for Gen Z? See, now this one's saying 1997, but other ones have said like 1995. Let's see, 96 is one. People say 95. Why am I wasting time on this? Anyway, it's confusing. I don't know what I am, and so I just take whatever is most convenient for me. Angelo, hey, tabletop. I want to ask you, what is your favorite spectralist composer, if any? Ooh, that is a very good question. I don't know. I'm not very familiar with many spectralist composers. So I know this isn't the answer you're looking for, but I can share some of my favorite composers from other genres. Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky. If I'm going off like classical repertoire, Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky, Dvorak, and I'm going to go with Shostakovich are probably my 3 favorite composers from the classical repertoire. Film composers, I'm very basic, super vanilla. Hans Zimmer, John Williams, John Powell, and obviously, #1, Joe Hisaishi is my favorite from the Studio Ghibli movies. Other than that, favorite like artists in terms of like pop music and stuff, I'd say Noah Guthrie, yeah, Noah Guthrie, and I'm gonna go with Jim Croce. Are probably the 2 that I must. And these answers change every day, honestly. But you know, I'm not very familiar with many spectralist composers. Do you have one you would recommend? I'll check them out. Let's see here. What else we got? 23. The clavic question was awesome. Great answer. 2. I wish I knew more rhythm patterns. All the percussion I write seems way too straight. Awesome. I'm glad it was helpful. Yeah, there are lots of really cool rhythms out there. Just Google cool rhythms or like famous rhythms. Famous rhythms would help you out a lot too. What is tonic prolongation? It could be a couple different things, but honestly, it's just staying on the tonic longer. All right. If you have a general super simple theory is if you're changing 1 chord per measure, basically, but then you land on the tonic and you stay there for like 2 measures, that's tonic prolongation. There are some more complex ways you can describe it, but that's basically what they mean at the end of the day. Anonymous, 9-parameter approach is awesome. It gives you a structure along with the freedom to explore. Would definitely try it. Oh, of course. 9 parameters forms the basis for a lot of stuff. In fact, if you want an all-encompassing breakdown of how to use the 9 parameters approach, I'm going to recommend my textbook. It's time to do a sales pitch, everybody. Everything on my website is 20% off. Everything, including my emotions and music class. This is to celebrate 6 years of YouTube. The month is almost over, people. The class comes with 3 private lessons. So normally, buying 3 private lessons is about $250. That's 3 hours of lessons plus personalized written notes on everything we discussed and recordings of each lesson. And you get all of that now, plus the class, which has 6 weeks worth of material, for $200 using the coupon code. There are payment plans. I don't usually put the class on sale. It's a special occasion for the 6-year anniversary. So you're going to want to grab it before it goes out of sale. This class teaches you literally everything you could ever possibly need to know about portraying any possible emotion with music. It has very good reviews, as you can see. And it's the only class out there, to my knowledge, that is written by a former therapist turned professional composer, which is me, ya boy. All right. So I have a very unique perspective on, because I had spent 6 years of my life training to be a therapist. I have a very in-depth education on not only what emotions are, but why we experience them and how we experience them. And as a professional composer, I have a very unique perspective on how that relates to music specifically. So the class is on sale. Like I said, it comes with 3 private lessons that you can schedule at your leisure. And the books, everything again, 20% off. The textbook right now is probably the best deal. Got this right here. 400 pages. It will teach you literally all of my processes for composing. If you wanted to basically have 35 private lessons and go through like everything that I could teach you, this textbook is where it's at. The one on sale is not physical copies. Physical copies are available on Amazon, and I unfortunately don't really control the price on Amazon. You can find them clicking this link. I won't, because I don't want to show you guys my address and where I live, which would happen if I pulled up Amazon. But you can see the reviews here are very good as well. You can also get a copy of the table of contents clicking this link right here. It's a 13-page table of contents. This is a beefy boy, my friends. This is a thick book. It covers literally everything. The first 10 chapters are all about music theory and chord progressions, writing really, really cool, really interesting, very either simple or complex chord progressions that tell a story. The second half is all about musical structure, telling stories with your melodies, your themes, organizing them into full-length pieces of music, sketching them so that they could be put into a full kind of like orchestral setting. All that really cool stuff, all the different types of layers beyond melody, like counterpoint, ostinati, counter melodies, everything, as well as chapters on portraying emotions with music, characters, writing character themes, and writing story worlds and creating sounds that bring those to life. Then part 3 is all about orchestration, creating realistic arrangements in your computer that could be played by actual performers as well. Like I said, this book was designed with in mind the idea that if someone just had a passing fancy, never wrote a piece of music in their life, and they wanted to write for orchestra, this book is 35 chapters long. You would take 1 chapter per week, and by the end of those 35 weeks, you would be able to write professionally for orchestra. That was the goal of this book, and people seem to like it so far. So take advantage of it, people. The sale does not last forever. It ends a week from Monday because it's a month long to celebrate 6 years of YouTube tutorials. Check it out. All proceeds go directly to me. They help pay my bills. They help me keep doing what I love to do, which is help make all this really cool content for you guys. So that's my sales pitch. Let's see here. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Don't forget to like the stream. Let's see here. Ioannis Xanaxis. I don't know who that is, but that's the specialist composer you recommend. This is why I keep index cards. I'm going to write this down so I can listen to this composer's music. Where is it? Ioannis Xenakis. Excellent. I have it written down in my chicken scratch. I'm going to look it up after the stream. So thank you, my friend. Let's see here. Does it mean dead composers? Basically an approach to sound manipulation, in short. Yeah, I'm going to have to research that then. Teleporter Bed, can your advice for composing in clave rhythms be applied to other rhythms? For example, rumba, calypso, mazurka. Oh, of course. Yeah, honestly, it's like I said, The idea is just if you want to use a rhythm without sticking directly to the rhythm, just make sure that you're emphasizing one of the rhythms. In fact, let's do another one, shall we? So you said mazurka. That's a fun one. Let's go Polish. Mazurka rhythm. So this is the mazurka rhythm. Let's swap to 3/4 time. Let's add a signature track. We'll say 3/4. So 3/4 time. Let's see here. Where did I go? Where did I put that? Mazurka rhythm. I'm going to pull this over here. This is going to be... say a dotted 8th note, followed by 16th note, followed by 2 quarter notes, followed by 2 8th notes, followed by 2 quarter notes, with the second quarter notes being accented. So this is our mazurka rhythm. All right, so awesome. So yeah, something you do here, where this is all filled out again, you could say, let's shorten each of these to just 16th notes. And all we need to do is whatever we do is we can add more notes to the mix if we wanted to. It'd be a little tricky with the mazurka. So I would say with a mazurka, you might want to just try using the straight mazurka rhythm in your accompaniment. Oops. Oh, my watch is telling me to take a walk. I've been sitting too long. I'd say like, yeah, so just pop this in the accompaniment and then write your melody. But you could definitely do some other stuff. It's the same basic strategy. If you wanted, if you really, really wanted to keep this in the melody, then, like I said, try to just stick to make sure that you find ways to emphasize your melody. We'll say we'll stick to just and then I forgot to change the chords underneath here. And so if you really wanted to, you could add additional notes in here. Again, remembering just to emphasize those notes that are a part of the intrinsic beat. And that's a little crazy, it's a little hectic. But so let's do, here's what we'll do. Copy and paste this. Because there's a lot of movement going on, we will introduce our basic rhythm idea first, and then we'll hear how this sounds a little bit smoother. Now make sure we got this going on. So here I am, I'm filling in a little bit of space. Now let's start from the top. Oops, here we go. See how that sounded a little cooler? Sounded a little more neat. That again goes back to something else I've talked about at length, which is about the different parameter, like the different pillars of orchestration, and that the focus being one of them. Focus being which layer commands the most attention. Lots of activity all at once becomes very confusing. So you want to make it very simple. And if there are two very active layers in your music, start with one and then introduce the other one, especially if the first one is very repetitive. Right? So it becomes much easier, much clearer and understand. I'm getting to the point of that stream where my brain is starting to slow down, people. But hopefully that helps. So we went through a clave rhythm and we went through a mazurka. Both the same strategy, like I said, you can adjust the rhythm as long as you are still finding a way to emphasize those primary notes. It might require a little bit of problem solving here and there, but for the most part, it should be perfectly fine. So let's check, see if there are any other questions. If not, I'm probably going to be calling it a day here soon, my friends. Sounds like an imperial march. Mazurka rhythm sounds like an imperial march a little bit. It is a little bit. It's a little stately. It is, if I am correct, I believe the mazurka is an old Polish rhythm. It was one of the stately dances from the Baroque period. A lot of the classical structures and music that came from the classical period started off as dance forms and during the Baroque period. So I think we will call it here because my brain is starting to fry a little bit. It's a beautiful day too, and I would like to get out and enjoy it. But thank you everyone who stopped by. I hope it was a helpful stream. Don't forget, take advantage of those sales over this weekend while they are available. Everything on my website, 20% off. Something I will also say, if you've ever wanted private lessons, because private lessons don't usually go on sale. If you ever wanted private lessons, but you were waiting for this is your best bet. Like I said, purchase the class. The class comes with 3 private lessons, and they don't have to be spent on class material. A lot of the people who get the class say that the class material, all the articles and the videos are more than self-explanatory. We might talk about it a little bit, but they prefer to spend the 3 private lessons working on dramatically improving their ability to write melodies, or dramatically improving their ability to write orchestral arrangements, or whatever they want to improve very quickly, which tends to happen with private lessons. But yeah, they are currently 20% off. The class is 20% off. You can get 3 lessons. So you would get 3 lessons for less than the price of actually the private lessons here, because these are technically not on sale. Everything in my bookshop is also on sale. Grab the books while they're all 20% off. Same with my notes and slides. Like I said, all proceeds go towards supporting your boy, all right? And helping me pay my bills, helping me pay my student loans, helping me afford to eat, get gas, and all those other things that are necessary for living in America. So thank you very much, my friends. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And next week kickstarts the celebration extravaganza of 6 years. Wednesday, I'm going to be having another mega live stream, which is basically going to start. I have no idea. Last year's went 6 hours. It will start at noon, Detroit time. And then it's just going to go until the piece of music I'm writing is finished. Because I'm going to start from scratch, write something in front of you guys, and we'll see how it goes. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I will see you all next week. All right. Bye for now.